My name is Jeremiah, and I bought land in Virginia. I have 30 days to build a treehouse. I've dreamed about having a treehouse since I was little, and now I have my chance. This video documents my adventure and the things I learned along the way.
Wow, this really is peaceful here. If you get angry down here, you shouldn't be with the rest of us. You should be in a small cage, getting hit with sticks. When I first came on the property, one of the interesting things that I noticed was there's hardwoods there. A lot of oaks. And then on this ridge here, it turns to pine. Another thing I wish I knew before building the treehouse was I had picked these amazing trees down there. I can't get to them. I tried to drive the track loader down thinking, it has tracks, it'll go anywhere. Not so much. I got stuck a couple times. It was bad. Knocked a few trees down. I'm in central western Virginia, not West Virginia, western Virginia. There is a difference, trust me. People have teeth here. No offense to West Virginia people. It's a stereotype that I like to keep alive. So a problem that I have is the trees are really tall here. A little further north, where I'm originally from, the oaks are like short and fat, like the people. No offense, just a stereotype I like to keep alive. I think I found the perfect trees. One of the biggest problems I had was because I had a limited amount of time, I just ran in and was going to every tree. And then once I started thinking of what can fall, what looks compromised, what has dead branches, then you start looking at everything really different. There's this part on the property where hardwoods and poplars, really tall trees, meet this cool cedars and pines and spruce. And so one of the things that I really wanted to do was be over here, kind of right where they meet. So the neighbor has told me over and over again about how many bears there are here. And usually black bears in Virginia are pretty harmless. They won't bother you unless they have young cubs, and then you're dead. You're pretty much going to just want to wear a bacon suit, and that's it. That's all she wrote. Hopefully someone writes something nice in your obituary in your hometown paper, and you'll be always known as the guy that the bear killed. So at least this time I did bring a gas can. I am prepared. And I broke down and brought the pocket rocket, because this is Virginia, where you can even carry a gun to church or Walmart. That's a 9mm, by the way, which is extremely large for that little tiny pistol that goes in the pocket. Not to be confused with the other pocket rocket that you can buy on Amazon for $9.99 that takes 2 AA batteries. Okay, this is wonderful because these two trees are the best I've found. The view is phenomenal. It's right exactly where I wanted. It's where I ended my road, and I have 2 feet to spare. Ideal, perfect. There's no road here. I've got to carry plywood and everything through the woods, but if you're going to act like a man, you have to be a man. And to be a man, you need to be able to carry a 4x8 piece of plywood through the woods and not whine and cry or take 5 lunch breaks. There's no smoke breaks on this job. You know why? Because this guy doesn't smoke and it don't take breaks. Sun's going down, extremely beautiful and peaceful. So this is how you need to eat when you don't want to get attacked by the bear. We've got a small fire, and I think we're pretty much ready for anything. Right down there is where I'm going to be building. I got the truck in. It's a little scary. I'm going to get it unloaded. And it was a hell of a ride in here. I will say that. I wish I would have cut the road a little wider, but it is what it is. Definitely need a 4-wheel drive to come in here when it's wet. That's a life lesson. Well guys, this is how you unload a truck when you're by yourself in the woods and you don't have any helpers. You can see that one there is pretty far. Kind of proud about that. If this was shot put, that'd be a gold medal, 100%. Here's another thing I wish I knew before building my treehouse. Rented a truck to take into the woods. Little did I know, well, of course I knew because it didn't say. It's not a four-wheel drive. Right now the challenge is getting this damn thing out of the woods. I put gravel down, but it's clearly not enough. And there's nothing in the bed now, so it's spinning out like really bad here. This sucks. Mostly because I want to get out of here and start working. You know, a lot of times you run headfirst into something and you create more problems than you fix. So this maneuver here, I'd like to call full coverage last resort, okay? Because after that, we're going to have to knock on doors and get some asshole with a tractor out here. And I am not joking, this is not staged. I'm going to try to blast up in here, turn around here, and go out head first. Wish me luck. Well, that might not be good. So these are my two trees, and I chose these because, one, there's a fantastic view down in the valley. It drops really nice here. This first tree, I can put steps there easily. Second one, that's the one that'll feel really high, have a nice view. This is a treehouse attachment bolt, also called a tab. It serves as an artificial hardened metal limb. This part goes in the tree. This is your stem or perch, and that's where your support beams will float and rest on this. But the most interesting part is this is called the boss. Now, I don't know how it got that name, but I know how it works. It works. And that's why I'm alone in the woods building a treehouse. There are literally millions of videos of people drilling treehouse attachment bolts. I'm not going to make you suffer through that. Nobody likes to watch someone drilling. Just want to show you the basics. So once you line up with your string, make sure it's level. You want to also make sure that you're drilling into the tree level, because the ground can be tricky. Something I've learned, something I've read, something I've seen, something that divine wisdom has taught me through the years is you can never base the ground and get yourself level. You need one of these. This is magic. Whoever invented this went down in history pretty much unknown. We have no idea who they are, but they are a hero. So the most important part about putting your treehouse attachment bolt in is that it has to be level. Because if it's not level and it's down, then basically your support beam is going to drop down with it, and it's going to put a lot of force on the nut. And we don't want to force the nut. Something we don't do around here, okay? Now let's get to drilling. Please enjoy 10 hours of drilling. Well, we have our first hole. I'm going to take some measurements and make sure everything aligns. The treehouse websites that sell that sort of thing, and there are a few of them, they sell a drill bit that is unreal. Like, it's crazy expensive. You could basically fly to Europe, meet a woman on the internet, and pay for your first 3 children for the price of this bit. And what I've done is circumvented that experience and made a fine hole here. Okay, we survived another night. This is actually, it's technically day 3, but as far as actually working, I've only worked about a half a day. That's from getting the truck stuck. That's from, you know, just fooling around, feeling the land, feeling my way around. But since one of the things I want to cover right now is things I wish I knew before building a treehouse, I didn't think that the drill bit would make such a difference. I spent literally 2 hours yesterday drilling with this piece of crap. It just smoked in the hole. It didn't do anything. And the metal was so soft when I took a file and tried to sharpen it that it was like an aluminum can or something. This is the softest metal I've ever seen for a drill bit. Thanks, China. So I ran out this morning to big box store and I bought the most expensive bit of hardened metal. Unbelievable difference. Like, I blasted through this hole where my treehouse attachment bolt will go in literally 5 minutes. What took me 2 hours yesterday with this, took me 5 minutes. So one day when I'm metal detecting and I find it, I'm gonna throw it again. So the number one thing I learned, or wish I knew before I built a treehouse, the tabs you absolutely need. I contacted a local place and see if they could make them, and it was basically like gypsy magic and rocket science. They wanted $350 for one of these. What else I learned was that your housing you can buy. If you can't weld, or if you can't weld, then you have to buy them. So the things I wish I knew were the cost to time ratio on building these and fabricating these as opposed to just buying them. So this side would go to your your floor joists, and then you would have to build a housing in here so it could move. And they don't move that much unless they're really high in the tree, but the housing is also pretty expensive. So in order to cut costs, I'm going to make these myself. So this is my uncle's metal stash. Here's where I go to grab stuff if I need to fabricate something. Metal is awesome. Metal can set outside for years and years and still, have a little rust on the outside. You cut it, it's perfect. A little bit of everything in here. I'm going to manufacture my own brackets to hold the tabs. As you can see, the old rusty steel looks pretty good. You have to grind the edges so you have a good clean surface to weld to. And I don't care what they say on YouTube comments. When it comes to welding, it's not how good you can weld, it's how good you can grind. Because when you got a big, nasty, burly, snail-looking thing where you weld it all together, you got to grind it down so it looks beautiful and your friends don't make fun of you. Okay, friends, so that's a very dangerous thing that happens. Sometimes your rod sticks, and that's really dangerous. And the reason why, there's a few amps there, enough to make your heart explode out your butthole. And a lot of times when it sticks like that, guys will take it, grab it, and you can ground yourself out, and that's it. You're off to go weld with Jesus. Wee Lord, that's ugly. Now we have to knock the slag off. Slag is basically the flux and other impurities that burns to the top. Okay, not too shabby. And I'm sure the comments are going to be full of angry welders telling me it looks like poop, but you know what? Don't care. I can see that it burned in really deep and fused the metal together. So pretty? No. Functional? Yes. Not how good you weld. It's how good you grind, baby. How good you grind. Major milestone getting this up. Now, you saw earlier I fabricated these guys. Now you understand a little bit more how these will float in the housing. Big thing now is just making sure that this is sealed in here. We want to make sure that that's sealed. That way no little beetles can come in, bacteria, anything like that that'll hurt our tree. I'm really upset about this. I really hope that this helps the tree. It's enough to make Pete Nelson cry. That's nice though. Anytime you have a slope, it never looks level. And I mean, I look at this with my naked eye, and it looks really jacked out, like almost to the point of set the thing on fire and leave. But when I put the level, oh yeah. Another day, very productive. with a capital P. I'm completely alone. Like, I have no one helping me. I got the truck stuck, so all the tools and everything after that I have to carry in by hand, and it's been a real struggle. And by struggle, I mean an awesome challenge. This to me is therapy. This is my vacation. I've come out here and I work as hard as I can and I make something with my hands and it's mine. And that's awesome. Like, I'll leave here as happy with these memories for the rest of my days. Almost dark. If that's not peaceful, I don't know what is. This is called a hoot flute. Let me say it again, a hoot flute. I've been working on how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, haven't figured it out yet. Check this out. Somewhere right now there's an owl who's like, that owl has his life together and is humming a good hoot, and I'm gonna fly out there and party with him tonight. That is how the owls party, with the hoot flute, okay? You want to party with the owls? Get yourself a hoot flute and live your life, my friends. Live it. So one of the things that's really important that you have to know is how to cook. When you're out in the forest and you're building your treehouse, you don't want to fry sausages or anything like that, because bears will come in on that like a zombie on a fresh corpse. One of the best survival techniques I can give anyone is to bring Old Bay into the woods. Now, Old Bay is a Maryland seafood seasoning. I'm putting it on my shrimp because when the bear attack happens, you want to be tasty. Old Bay won't keep the bears away, but it will make you fantastically tasty. We're out here roughing it in the forest, about to eat some shrimp covered in Old Bay, grilled on a fire, with the hopes and dreams of a nation. That's gonna be yummy. I don't care who you are, where you're from. So here's the beautiful mess I woke up to today. Everything was outside, all the tools. Luckily, I brought this. I have to put some plywood down on the top, and I'm gonna, get this tarp really secure, and then I'll have a little cover there for my tools. I'm gonna leave those here, and fingers crossed, squeezing my butt cheeks. Build a treehouse, they said. It would be awesome. Do it alone, by yourself. It'll be rewarding like meditation in the woods. You know, this is freedom. However, don't pay the property tax for 4 or 5 years and see who really owns the land. Now that's freedom. If the tree really needs to move, she's got plenty of room, and then there's still at least 9 inches on the perch there, on the post where it can flex if it needs to. So, it has been a hell of a 4-day adventure. I did all of this by myself. Let's check it out. Let's see what she looks like from above. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Majestic. And I strategically made this side not very high, because then my stairs can come up in here. I don't need, this massive stair complex. And then over here is really far down. I mean, that is a hell of a ways down. And of course it drops there into the ravine. There's a creek there. You can see the mountain up there. I mean, this is ideal. This is a beautiful, beautiful spot. It's going to be a nice place to hang out, sleep, run through the woods naked, play southern rock music, shoot guns, and pretty much just run through the woods naked is what I'm going to be doing. So after the rain, I took a couple-day break, went home for Easter, and I decided while I was out, I've seen a lot of people do this side-by-side bracing, and it's balanced on there perfect. I've got my brackets, and I did these these hangers all the way across, and it's pretty sturdy up there, but I'm just worried being here by myself, if I do this other side, stand a wall up, that weight and me is going to flip this fucker. Here's one of the things I wish I knew. I wish I knew that everything here would be rock. Sweet Lord, we've broke the demon free. I have to get columns to support the outer sides because, you know, the problem's going to be all the weight's in the middle, but I'm alone. So when I set my wall, it's going to be a huge amount of weight, and I'm just scared that it's going to break away and I'm going to tumble down through the forest to be eaten by badgers, beavers, squirrels, possums, pretty much anything with sharp teeth. Good news and bad news. Good news, there's water on the property. Bad news, it's way down there. So before it gets dark, I'm going to go down and grab a bucket of water like the old days. But one of the things that I do always do is I put my socks up above my pants, not to look cool, but to prevent ticks from climbing down in, riding up my legs, and biting me in private regions. Now, ticks are awful. I mean, honestly, they serve no purpose. They're evil. They were probably sent here by the devil. I hate them. Ticks are the worst possible thing. And not only that, but they give you wood aids. I'm joking because I always say inappropriate things, but wood aids, or as it's known to other people, Lyme disease, is no joke. The fact that it's not a national health crisis blows my mind. Because really, it can cause neurological problems. They don't even know all the problems it can cause. So I will probably die from exposure of whatever's in this awful stuff. But you will not get me, ticks. You will not get me. So this is down by the creek. Some very brave individual, which was me, drove the track loader down here and made a pretty sweet road. Update. I will not be doing this again. You never realize how valuable water is until you have to carry it in a bucket up to your little tree house. Sweet baby Jesus. It's almost dark, and I've decided to cook something that will definitely make the bear want to attack me this evening. As you can see, I've purchased a cast iron skillet. Cast iron is the flavor of death. The settlers knew it. The pioneers knew it. A lot of bird activity today. We're going to stay vigilant. We're going to stay aware and focused. Yeti is probably down there. That's why the birds are freaking out. And we're going to stay on top of it and be ready for anything. Okay, very, very valuable lesson learned here today. Things that I wish I knew before building the treehouse became things I learned while building the treehouse. Never make your walls heavier than your balls. That's what we learned today. I almost died. I even turned the camera off because I didn't want my final moments to be a viral hit video. So the original thought was to frame in all the windows. Now we're just doing straight 8-foot planks. You know, of course it's framed inside, but that's the maximum amount I can lift on my own without tumbling off to the forest, never to be seen again. Remember, always look at your back. Good thing I wasn't wearing my hard hat.
I am the one, the way your son don't need a gun to get respect up on the street.
Originally, I was going to do all the way out here, but what I've decided to do is add another plank there and make this a pretty sweet porch. Because you're in the country, you're in the South, if you don't have a sweet porch, then what are you going to do? One of the things I've learned from experience, especially when you're using reclaimed material, sometimes it's easier to actually lay it down and frame around it. 2 days left, and it looks like a tornado came through here and it just threw everything. I use a technique called the scatter and drop method. So basically each time I come through, I grab something and I pull it a little closer to the destination. Neighbor came by, said he heard a lot of weird noises in the night. We didn't talk much, but he said it's a sweet little woodshed in the tree, and I respect it. This is one of the last parts. I'm framing this guy out to put that window in. So if you're going to try to build something and you don't want to run yourself to death going up and down a ladder, being by myself, it really is a lot of work. You got to have a tool belt. Everything you need is right here, and even some stuff you don't need. You could put anything in here. I mean, you could put googly eyes. You could put all kinds of fancy little gems and sparkles. Your tool belt is basically an extension of your manhood. Here it is, almost dark. I'm out of time. And the treehouse is looking pretty sweet, if I must say so myself. Keep in mind, this is small, so you don't need to worry about snow load. And we're in the South, for God's sake. Doesn't snow that much here. If the bear comes and he wants trouble, we got trouble. That's my door. Window behind the door. Now check this out. Like I said, I'm using the scatter method. Kind of looks like a tornado picked up a woodshed and tossed it through the woods. That's just how we do. You know, sometimes when you're out in the woods and you get excited, you gotta throw a board or two. We're gonna wrap things up here before the bear comes and attacks. But the biggest fear is Yeti. Peeking in the windows, snatching your people up. Hide your wife, hide your kids. Got a lot of details that I won't get to this time, but at least tomorrow I'll be able to start the roof. Lock this bad boy up and get back home. We're burning our paper waste, making sure it goes back to the earth in one of the oldest forms of recycling, taking it back in the form of carbon. It's going to be nice. Don't burn plastic and don't burn pressure treated wood. That'll make your children be born naked, and nobody wants that. As you can see, I've got my pine boards here, my 2x4s stacked up nice and neat. And a little unknown fact about 2x4s is they'll take the shape of whatever's around them. So if you stack them like this, you'll get a real creative bend in the wood. And that's what I like. It keeps it unique, it makes it look special, and each and every piece has an artistic touch and feel. Got to get my roof on to get out of here. I don't have any time left. Tomorrow I have to leave at lunchtime. It's going to be a long night, but we're going to get her done. Made really good progress, and right now I'm just going to try to straighten everything up a little bit. Super happy I got the roof on. It's not pretty, but it's functional. That's it, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, women, children, short people. Got a lot done. I'm going to put the window in, rough the door, stack everything under there, pick up some trash. And that's it, baby. That's my treehouse. Like, subscribe, write bad things in the comments. I love those. Everybody's got an opinion. Well, I never built a treehouse, but I'm going to tell you what I think. Yeah, that's real fun. I enjoy that.